The object of Taxi Chronicles is to allow real riders with real stories, share their experience and enhance your life. So sit back and enjoy the journey. Morning. Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider. Today we have Miles Davis in the car. And he's a young guy. He's interesting, he's got a good heart, and he's been talking about Arthritis, his charity he used to work for. Arthritis for?
Arthritis Action.
Action.
Yeah.
And he's been talking about this, and there's certain points that I thought people need to know about this. People need to be aware. So, tell us a bit about yourself first. What kind of person were you when you were in school?
When I was in school?
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, it's like, I've changed a lot. I used to be a bit troublesome in school. But I think that's normal, you know, like boys' school, growing up, you just try and like have a bit of fun, still get your grades and stuff, but just enjoy yourself, enjoy your life, you know. But yeah, I'll say I was always a fun person in school. I still think I'm a fun person now, to be honest. But yeah, like Arthritis Action.
Yeah, how did you come to work for Arthritis Action?
To be honest, it's not something I was actually looking to work in. I wasn't really looking at the charity sector, but difficult finding a job during COVID because it started last year, so during the pandemic really, and I started last year April.
Did you go to university?
I went to university, I studied economics, so like I took a complete different turn. I ended up working in the charity sector after thinking I'm going to be working for big private firms and stuff. But
out of your interest, what happened to the firms, working for the firms?
Terrible experiences interviewing, to be quite honest.
How so?
I weren't applying for like the massive firms. I was applying for like more small to medium firms.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of them are just still stuck in the 90s in terms of like their diversity. Like, so there was like lack of diversity.
So what did they say though? What was the actual experience?
I had a few experiences where it's like you turn up and you don't actually get interviewed on the day.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it happened to me like 3 times.
Okay, so they just looked at you and went,
literally,
no.
I've got there, they'll have like a porter downstairs, and even the porter would be surprised to see a black person walking the door. Yeah. Like, it happened a couple of times, and it's just, yeah, so it sort of put me off working in the industry for a while. So I still hold the interest in my personal life, because I studied economics, so obviously I have an interest in it. Yeah. But it's not something I see myself working in anytime soon.
What you should do for that, you should send a CV in with somebody else's name on, but exactly the same resume as yours. Then when they get an interview, then you can sue them for racism.
Oh, do you know what though?
Of course, because that's what there's an Indian guy who goes around doing that. He puts his name and sing what have you, and then they don't give him opportunity for an interview, and then he sends in a white person with the same name, and then he just says no, and that's how he makes a living, just suing.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Not a terrible idea, you know. Not a terrible idea.
They need to be taught that. But also, if you think about it, they're stupid because they're never going to get the best person for the job. Because if they're limiting their ideas to that.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, when I came out of uni, I remember I was speaking to a few of my friends, and like from all different backgrounds, and it's like my black friends or like my Asian friends, when I was telling them about their experience, they was like, oh yeah, like it weren't surprising to them. But all of my white friends, like, they've never heard anything like of the sort ever in their life. It's like such a different experience, you know. But it's life at the moment, so but it is what it is to a certain extent. Can't do too much about it. You just need to keep pushing and keep trying, I guess.
What did you learn about that from that experience?
To be fair, I learned that not everywhere is a fit for you, you know. That's what I think, because genuinely, I was like steadfast on working in that sector until that happened. And from my experience, I was just like, you know what? Maybe it's not a fit for me, because at the end of the day, I'm someone, I've got long hair. At the time, my hair was longer than it is right now. I've had twists and stuff in the past. I've had my hair plaited or cane rolled. Like, really and truly, I walk into an interview with cornrows to go work in finance, I'm not going to get the job. I can't really be myself in that environment. or it's a very difficult for me to be myself and who I am as a person in that environment. So maybe it's not the best environment for me to be trying to work in. I can have an interest, but let me keep that for my personal life, you know. That's my realization from it, to be honest. It's just not everything's a fit for you. Sometimes you just need to learn where's actually a good fit for yourself and who you are as a person.
Okay, so do you feel that they felt uncomfortable because of your twists, or do you think it's because there's a certain image that they may want to portray, and they're looking at you and thinking this guy is not really with it? They may think like that.
You know what? I think it's an industry. I think, in my experience, when I've gone there, everyone's suited and booted. Everyone's wearing a suit in the office.
Was you wearing a suit that day?
Of course, I interview.
Okay.
I went to turn up in a suit, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. I turn up.
No, because if you get, you know what it is. You've been to countries that are all black.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and if you go to their corporate banking, you may see that they're very similar to the corporate banking world here in the sense of dress, and their hair is just going to be a level 2 afro or a bald head. Yeah. They're not going to see any rastas, especially if it's Jamaica.
Yeah.
And you're going to look, and you tell me you're not going to see these music video hairstyles.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, do you think it that might be a part of it?
Oh, I think it's definitely a part of it but for me, it's just
that
means it's the industry, because the industry as a whole, I think, if you don't fit into like a particular narrative or like a particular image, it's difficult for you to prosper. And for me, I'm not someone, I wouldn't like to compromise who I feel like is myself to be able to fit in and work in a particular sector. So, because at the end of the day, I feel like I'm a multi-talented person. I feel like there's always going to be somewhere else that's a better fit for myself.
Okay.
So, and luckily I found somewhere that's a better fit, and I'm even found another place that's even a better fit. So I'm starting a new role in a week.
Economics?
No. I've done economics at uni, so like in my personal life I dabble in like stocks and like trading and stuff, like in my spare time. That's how I keep my interest up in that. I do reading on it a lot, but I keep that as like an interest that I do in my spare time. But in my work now, next week I'm starting a role in marketing. Marketing? Yeah.
Okay, but it's different from what you wanted to do, isn't it?
It's entirely different from what I wanted to do, but through my experience through Arthritis Action, a lot of my job it was slightly marketing, and I enjoyed all aspects of the marketing side of my role. And speaking to people as well, like even when I've gone to interviews for marketing roles, and the culture and everything, it's actually a fit for my personality. So it's something I can see myself doing for sure. As a result of that, you know, I think it's important to like have a good culture fit as well as, you know what, thinking you might enjoy the work.
So what you're saying, Miles, and correct me if I'm wrong here, that you want to feel comfortable from the get-go. You don't want to feel that you have to conform and then later on be yourself if you can.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to, because honestly I feel like everyone has to conform to a certain extent wherever you like. In the workplace I feel like it's normal, you have to a certain extent. You can't just be saying whatever's on your mind all the time, for example. But for me it's about going in and not having to like conform with like all of my ideals and stuff. I want to be able to go in, be like, you know what, this is who I am as a person, and hope people take me for what I am. And if you don't like me for who I am, that shouldn't be somewhere I'm working. So yeah, definitely I think it's important to just be able to walk into somewhere, have a chat with someone and be like, you know what, we get on with each other, and be able to enjoy your work there. I don't want to be able to be like, you know what, I'm having to tidy myself up maybe, or just like not tidy myself, but like sort of put like dampen who I am to try and fit in somewhere. I don't really agree with doing that personally. I know a lot of people do it, and I wouldn't blame them for doing it, but I think there's always another opportunity out there that might mean you don't have to do that. So I always look for those opportunities now.
Would you say you're a creative person?
I didn't think so up until recently. Because in school I was creative. I used to love art and stuff, but like Caribbean background and stuff, it's like when you go into doing A levels, university, it's more academic subjects you get pushed to do.
The only reason I ask, because creative people are usually the ones who say, I must be allowed to be who I am.
Yeah.
And other people are like, listen, what do you want? I need to wear a suit or I'm going to get a suit. How high do you have to jump there? So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if you may be, it sounds like, you've got that creative element in it. Where one thing you touched on, which I want to delve into a bit, you spoke about when you was at uni.
Yeah.
And you're studying economics. Where did you study economics?
Studied at Portsmouth Uni.
Okay. Now, what was the ratio like in your class? Let's say, was there a heavy mix of different races, different genders, all studying economics?
Yeah. At my university was very diverse.
No, but I mean the economics.
No, yeah.
Of course you did.
Yeah, definitely very diverse. I think.
So you had a good amount of women, a good amount of black people, Asians.
Yeah, it was honestly a very diverse course. Like there was I had quite a few like South Asian friends, a lot of like Chinese or like Malaysian, Filipino friends, like people like black Caribbean, black African.
Okay.
Like honestly, a very good diverse mix of people. It was quite surprising actually.
Are they all in the industry now? Keep in touch with them?
I'll be honest, I don't keep in touch with much people from uni, but from my knowledge and the ones that I do keep in contact with, the majority, we're doing something else now.
And why do you think that is?
I think it's a hard sector to get into. There's a lot of people vying for positions, and I think that's a big factor of it. And I think also there's a lot of different jobs out there now. I think that from the base and starting, I think that actually pay better than actually getting a job in that industry at this current point in time. It's like, I know I've got a lot of friends like that decided to work in recruitment straight after graduating from uni, but you've spent 3 years studying a degree that's not anything related to recruitment, but you've now decided to go into recruitment because you're like, it pays more money. So that's a big element of it as well. I think it's just, and I think, you know what, I think for my generation, I think a lot of people, it's the thing I said, it's about culture fit as well. I think a lot of people, they've gone and started interviewing and realised, you know what, it's not like the most enjoyable space to work in. It's like very business oriented,
The
and
environment, the work.
It's like very regimented.
It's not a Google environment.
Yeah, and I think anyone, really and truly, you want a space that you can, you know what, you go in and you feel like you're gonna enjoy going in every day. You're gonna go in, like enjoy, like thinking you're with friends as much as with colleagues, and I think it's important to people more so than I think before, than it once used to be, because I think there's so many jobs out there now that it allows people to be that little bit more selective on the culture, I think.
Okay. Now, you said you've been a great interview. You said you work for Arthritis.
Action, yeah.
Yeah, Action. What's your role?
Okay, so I've been working there for the last year. I'm leaving, yesterday was my last day working there, but I was working on a project. I was employed to work on a project, and my project was literally to increase the exposure to younger audiences. As you can imagine, the Arthritis charity, most of the people they work with are like over a certain age, so 60 plus. We've got a decent amount of people within like 50 to 60, but I'll say under the ages of 45, there's not a lot of exposure. There's not a lot of people that we actually work with regularly. So I came in to sort of head up a project that was trying to reach that sort of age bracket we don't have much exposure to, you know.
Okay, that's good. And how did you find those young people, and how did it turn out?
To be fair, I came in and I started off just doing research and trying to find out what it is the young people want from the arthritis service. from an arthritis charity. So
these are all people who had arthritis.
yeah, so what I started off doing is I was conducting research. I was doing surveys and focus groups, just trying to reach out to people with arthritis. We started off in the ages of 18 to 45, just doing a broad survey focus groups, just trying to find out what services do you feel like you need. What can we do that you might engage with to make you actually follow us and actually want to engage with our charity regularly? And
what was that? What did you find that they needed?
I found out that they wanted services like peer support groups. We run peer support groups anyway.
What's peer support group?
So at the moment we're doing online groups where people can come and have a talk with other people with arthritis.
Yeah.
So there'll be someone like myself that works for the charity inside the group, like facilitating. But it's just like an open space for people to talk about like their life experience. It's normally topic based, so it's like maybe a different topic each group, but we try and do those regularly. But what I've done as a result of my research is I've just made a group specifically for people aged 18 to 35. And I've ran 2 of those. I ran the first one in February, the last one a week ago, April, and the next one will be next month after I leave, but someone else will continue the service now. Yeah, so that's something I've decided to set up, and it's going quite well.
How many people were in that group?
We've had 5 people come so far.
Okay.
Because it's a small charity, we're like trying to do what we can.
Yeah.
But I think you have to start somewhere, you know. And it's only been 2 groups, only 2 groups in. But genuinely, given the feedback from the people that have attended, I would say it's definitely going to pick up and take off. And it's genuinely something I think people want. And I think the more we do it and the more we share it around with people, other organisations, it's only ever going to improve. Because the groups that we've been doing for years are with like just the wider audience we do have. Like if you go to one of them, there's always quite a few people in the groups. You'll never get less than like 7 or 8 people in a group. For online chat, that's always a good number, you know. You don't want like 30 people to show up, because then no one can like, no one can ever say anything. So you do want it to be like sort of smaller, tight knit groups, you know. So that people actually get like good results out of it.
And they in group, yeah. You've been a great guest. My last question to you is arthritis curable? And what's the overall outcome when it comes to arthritis?
There's not a cure, but it's something that can be managed. So like the charity I worked for, Arthritis Action, they're very much on the side of trying to help people manage their arthritis, because we know that there isn't actually a cure for it. So we help people and give people advice on ways in which they can try and manage their arthritis, and that's the most important thing, you know, to try and help reduce their pain, reduce their symptoms, and just teach them ways in which to do that, really, or try and educate them on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thanks a lot for that, and we wish you well. And to the listeners out there, thank you. I hope you learned a lot about that, from arthritis to what it's like being a black person or person of colour, investing in trying to get a job in economics. And have a nice day. We hope that episode enhanced your life. We post an interview every day, as well as vlogging on our social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe to get our latest episode.